Hi there, and a very warm welcome to JezzaTime. Today's story is entitled Roy Red. We live in a wonderful world full of beauty and colour. But sometimes, sadly, the colours start to fade and need to be repainted. This is the work of secret, magical elves that cannot be seen by you or me, except on exceedingly rare occasions. Often, late at night, when you are sound asleep, they silently appear to give a new coat of paint wherever it is needed and transform the fading colours into bright, fresh ones. Now, each elf belongs to its own special colour family. They use this colour and this colour alone in their work. And every elf believes that its own colour is the best and the most important one. Young elves must first of all work with a grown-up elf in order to learn how to paint properly. That's before they are allowed out on their own. It is an especially proud moment when the young elves are awarded their highly prized painting certificate and badge. However, elves can only paint the world and improve its beauty. It's up to you and to me to take good care and preserve the world for the next generation. I'm sure that you help a great deal yourself, and you can think of several ways that humans look after, but sadly damage the planet also. This particular story is about an elf named Roy. He belonged to the red family, which made him feel immensely proud. Red had always been his favourite colour, and he really enjoyed helping the other elves in the painting that needed to be done. Just look about you and think of all the places where you can find this colour. Letterboxes, fire engines, roses, robins, valentines, hearts, lipstick, red noses of clowns, the edge of rainbows, and glorious sunsets. Red is everywhere, all around us. No wonder that Roy and his family were so busy. There is a lot of red in the world. Now, Roy was very polite and generally well behaved, as all elves are taught to be. However, he was a lively elf who enjoyed playing tricks and could be a little mischievous at times. Perhaps you know somebody like him, or perhaps you are a little like him yourself. Roy found it highly amusing to sometimes paint red onto the wrong object. He didn't mean any harm, but he just found it extremely funny. It made him laugh and laugh and laugh when he saw the surprised look on someone's face when they discovered what he had done. Unfortunately, it sometimes annoyed the other elves, who did not find it quite so amusing. One evening, Roy was in an even more mischievous mood than usual. He had found himself in serious trouble earlier when he had deliberately painted some green tomatoes red, and the humans, who thought they were ripe, had eaten some of them by mistake. Oh dear, for their evening salad, they had received a big shock and probably a bit of a tummy ache. The other elves had insisted that he repaint them all again properly. To make matters worse, one of the elves had warned Roy that he might report his mistake to the chief superior. Well, Roy decided that if he was going to be told off later, then he might as well really play some of his tricks. I might as well enjoy myself, he thought to himself. I can't get into any more trouble than I'm already in after all. But what could he do? He thought about all the tricks that he had always wanted to play. I wonder what you would have done if you'd been in his place with lots of red paint. What mischief would you have got up to, I wonder? Well, it makes me laugh when I tell you what he did. I'm sure you'll find it very funny too, although it really was quite naughty of him. Creeping out quietly and secretly on his own with his pot of red paint hidden underneath his coat, he headed towards the high street. When he reached the traffic lights, I don't know if I can tell you this, he painted over the green one, turning it red. What confusion followed as all the cars and buses and lorries came to a sudden stop. None of the traffic could move, as there was now no longer a green light shining to tell them to go. Everyone was confused, with nobody moving. It was chaos. You should have heard the hooting. Next, Roy made his way to a sports stadium. You won't believe me when I tell you how he painted a blue flag red. And this meant that the wrong country's flag was displayed when the winning athlete was being given her gold medal. It really was very naughty of him. And he wasn't finished yet. Just before an important football match was about to begin, Roy actually painted the white shirts of one of the teams red. And when the game started, both teams were wearing red shirts, and they passed the ball to each other by mistake. Nobody knew who was in each team. The players even scored goals into the wrong net. When the game came to an early end, nobody was quite sure of the final score. Some people were certain that the home team were clear winners, while others disagreed. No. They thought that the away team had won. The referee later stated that the match had finished in a 7-7 draw. What trouble Roy had caused. We all get up to a certain amount of mischief at one time or another, but Roy knew that he really was going to be in big trouble this time. I wonder what the naughtiest thing that is that you've ever done. I'm sure you've never behaved quite as badly as that. Well, as you might expect, that night Roy was in so much trouble. The chief superior was very, very annoyed of him. Until you prove that you can be totally trusted, you will not be given your badge or certificate, he pronounced in a serious voice. Poor Roy. He was extremely upset. He wished he had not behaved so badly now. Oh, he wondered if he could ever do anything to regain their trust. Oh dear, if only I could do something so special, so absolutely amazing, then maybe, just maybe, I would be forgiven, he thought to himself. Roy picked up his globe and glanced round at it. He tried to think of something that would make him amazingly famous. But what? His eyes suddenly fell on a word he knew so well. Red. Red. The Red Sea. There it is, look. Near Africa. The Red Sea. Roy was shocked when later he saw a photograph of the Red Sea. Something was wrong, very wrong. Something had happened to the sea. It had lost its colour. It wasn't red. It appeared grey. The elves must have forgotten to paint it, or perhaps it was too difficult a task. Well, Roy, would change all that. He made up his mind in a flash, in an instant. He would repaint it red. No matter how hard it was, or how long it would take, he would restore it to its proper colours, and then everyone would see what a hard-working elf he really was, and he might be forgiven. Roy arrived there a few minutes later. Elves, remember, are magical and can travel long distances in a split second. He set at work at once, starting to repaint the grey water a bright red colour. But no sooner had he started than he was immediately interrupted by the sound of people screaming. Ah! What's happened? What's happened to the water? It's turning red! Help! Help somebody! Imagine the astonishment and disappointment when discovering the truth. It wasn't meant to be red after all. I expect you are laughing at Roy, but he was terribly upset when he discovered his mistake and realised that red was simply the name of the sea and nothing to do with the colour of the water. He sat down on the bank with his head in his hands and began to cry. He had so wanted to perform an amazing task and be trusted again, but instead he had only made matters worse. What on earth could he do? A tear fell from Roy's eye, falling onto a small flower by his side, turning the petals red. He closed his eyes, and when he reopened them, someone had turned the flower the most glorious shade of pink. Roy froze in disbelief. He'd never seen such a beautiful colour. For the first time, he realised that maybe red was not the only lovely colour in the world. He heard a sound and looked around, and somebody was standing by his side. It was another elf. His name was William White. He has his own story later, but just at this moment he was busy repainting a cloud nearby. William had looked down and seen Roy crying, and had stopped work to go and find out what was the matter and see if he could help. Wasn't that kind of him? Some of his white paint had dripped down from his brush and mixed with Roy's tears to produce a beautiful pink colour. William asked Roy why he was so upset, and he didn't laugh at him at all. Instead, he said he thought it was an exceptionally good idea to try and brighten up the grey water. William cheered Roy up, and before long they were chattering and laughing together, just as if they were best mates. When you're feeling sad or disappointed, the best thing is to have someone kind to help support you. Roy had never had a real companion before. He'd spent too much of his time getting into mischief. It was a lovely feeling, and before long both elves became firm friends. There was still one difficulty that lay ahead, and I will leave you to imagine the conversation that the Chief Superior had with Roy when he returned home. However, when he saw how truly sorry Roy was at the tricks he had played, I'm pleased to say that he was forgiven. Roy and William now enjoy each other's company, often working together to create beautiful shades of pink. The occasion when, by repainting some wine, both red and white, rosé wine was accidentally discovered, being one of their finest achievements. Their friendship is so important. William encouraged Roy to stop playing so many tricks, and he has become a far more sensible elf as a result. In turn, Roy has helped William too, particularly on one occasion when William was very unhappy, but that's a story for another time. Red is a glorious colour, and Roy is proud of the work that he does, both on his own and with others. I'm so pleased to tell you that soon afterwards Roy was awarded his certificate and received his special badge. He has become a first-class painter, and he only paints his red colour now in the correct places. Well, most of the time anyway. I also have a very special friend named Roy, and we've been really, really good companions since the age of, believe it or not, 5. And our friendship is still just as valuable today as it was then. And yes, in case you're wondering, Roy is quite mischievous. Friends are very, very valuable to us, very, very important in our lives. Not just to play with and to share the fun and laughter of our lives, but also to comfort and support us in those troubled times. Because a really true friend will always be there for us, no matter what. Thank you for joining me for JezzaTime. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, please press like and subscribe. Until then, take care of yourselves and your friends. Bye for now. See you again soon. Jezza.